The Holy Baal Shem Tov teaches us that every single thing that I see or I hear can teach me something about connecting and serving God. And specifically this idea that we're all a mirror for one another. And I can learn something out of every situation. It's connected to this week's Parsha, Parshas Noach. And so in this week's Parsha, we have this kind of strange story, actually, of three brothers. So we know that Noach, he gets off the ark. It's been a long ride. It's been a long journey. And he's busy feeding a lot of animals. He gets into some wine. And next thing you know, he's completely naked. So Ham is the first brother to spot this. And he makes a whole story about it. He gets very excited about it. It's the latest gossip. I mean, there's like 3 people on planet Earth, like max, like 6. But this is the latest gossip. So he goes and he tells his brothers, Shem and Japheth. And the way it's explained is that they turned their bodies around in order to cover their father, to cover, his shame, this embarrassment. And they handled it with such a dignity and such a lack of drama, such a disinterest. And we see that really the way they were turned, it was almost impossible that they didn't see, but the idea is that they didn't see because they weren't interested in seeing, because they weren't there for the drama. They were there for what actually needs to be done in this moment. And so going back to this idea of everything I learn or see everything I see is really a mirror for myself, it's not everything is a mirror for myself. It's whenever I get involved, whenever something becomes a story, whenever it triggers me, that means there's something there for me to learn. So we see with the son Ham, he got all excited about this. This was a story, this was drama, which meant the same promiscuity or lack of sneas, of modesty was happening with his father. He also had that same trait, and that's why it triggered him. Versus his brothers didn't struggle with that. That wasn't their challenge. And so therefore, for them, it was just matter of fact. What needs to be done in this situation? What is needed for me in this moment? And we have, throughout the entire Parsha, instead of calling the animals impure, they're called hara, right? So they're called not pure, right? So instead of saying they're tame, which is the word for impurity, it's lo tahara, not pure. That's a clearer way of saying it from the Hebrew. And so all this, really like this care is given for these animals that are not reading the Torah, right? We're like protecting their feelings for not being embarrassed by saying that they're these, tame, impure animals, instead of just saying lo tahara. They're not pure, which is like a much more sweet way of saying it. And therefore, we learn this lesson about, being really sensitive and careful with our words. And yet, later in the Torah, when we're talking about impure animals, we use the word tameh all the time, on the regular. We're just dealing with halachas. We need to know, is this a pure animal or an impure animal? It doesn't need to be a whole emotional thing. And that's exactly the point. When it becomes a story, right? Bereshis is a story, a true story, but a story. When it's this whole drama and I'm getting triggered and I'm getting drawn in, that's when I need to be extra sensitive with my words. That's when I can't go up to someone and say, hey, what you're doing, impure. Hey, there's something wrong with you. When I'm in that place of being triggered, it means the world is my mirror, teaches the Baal Shem Tov. And I need to go inside. And when I'm not being triggered by something, there's no story here. I'm like the other 2 brothers. I'm not even looking at the drama. I'm not even looking at the other person's problem. My question is, what is needed for me in this moment? Later in the Torah, it's just about the halacha. It's just about what's needed here. Is this animal pure or impure? Right? So that's when I can help another person from this place of what's needed. And so really, this is the lesson of when should I be getting involved in actually helping another person? Or when should I actually be turning inwards and realizing this is my own stuff? And this is so huge to be able to notice this. As soon as it becomes a judgment, it becomes a story, it becomes a drama, I'm dragged into this, I have all these judgments of it shouldn't be this way, that's when I know that I need to heal my own inner world and not try to fix. And so this is an incredible marriage secret, marriage tool, marriage skill that the Torah is offering us, is this ability to turn it around. So I'll give you the simplest example. Say I'm trying to get ready and I look at my husband and we're both supposed to go somewhere together, and I might want to say to him, get ready, we need to go. Right? And it's kind of with this annoyance of why aren't you getting ready? And hello, time, And being able to just turn it around. Wait a second. I need to get ready. And I've experimented with this so many times. I wouldn't be telling you about this if I hadn't. Of just letting go of his Daled Amos. He's gonna get himself ready to go. Maybe we'll be 2 minutes late and we'll have Shalom Bayis and it'll be okay. But in that getting ready to go, it's just turning it around in that moment and be like, oh, well, am I ready to go? No, I probably still need to get dressed, and I probably still need to pack my bag for the day or whatever it is. And even if I am still totally ready to go, right? Instead of that nagging thing of, did you do this? Did you do that? Like, come on, being able to just ask myself, like, right? Turn it around. You need to get ready to go. I need to get ready to go. Wow, what else do I need for this trip? Maybe I want my AirPods for the car, and that just saves my entire car ride. Or maybe I want to bring a scarf for later, or maybe I want to set my intention. Maybe I'm having some anxiety about wherever we're about to go, and that opportunity to go within. And this really works on absolutely everything. And, just give it a few more examples of like, you should call your parents. I should probably call my parents. You should take better care of yourself. I should probably take better care of myself. You should go to sleep. I definitely need to go to sleep. Right? You should speak more calmly. Oh, I should speak more calmly. Right? Really just allowing my husband to be my mirror. Usually my advice to my husband is my best advice to myself. And the more heated and the more charged and the more judgmental and the more annoyed I am, the better the advice is, the better I really need to take my own advice. And I experienced this once where my husband was saying something to me that I really, just like a little expression that I did not like. And I had a whole non-Gula Wives moment where I sat him down and I told him how much it's bothering me and how we can't have this in our home and And the next day I used that exact expression at him. And there was just this moment of like silence of realizing I'd been busted, and then thank God we just totally cracked up because it was hilarious. It was just like the irony. It's like, wait a second, if I want to transform something in my home, I have to transform myself. If I want to change the way my husband speaks, change the way I speak. If I want to change the thought patterns here, change my own thought patterns. If I want to change the environment of our home, I'll start with myself. And that's the power of being a woman and the power of feminine influence. It's enough that I'm in that peak state of being. It's enough that I'm in a place of wholeness. It's enough that I'm connected. It's enough that I'm doing what I need to do and I'm getting ready to go. That's enough. That's enough to have the pull of the energy to bring my family, my home, my marriage in the direction that I feel Hashem's asking me to go. And sometimes it feels holy, to tell another person off, and holy to help my husband, to fix him, to guide him. Hello, he's my husband. Aren't I supposed to care? And realizing this gift of this part of Bereshis, right? Of really the story of Noach and his sons, and realizing, whoa, am I getting wrapped up into it because I have the same thing inside of myself, and I need to start with myself. And knowing that, yes, I can 120% influence my husband, 120% I can influence my home for the positive. But that influence is going to come as influence, which is feminine, versus control, which is masculine energy, and it's just not going to work. It's just not going to flow. Control it doesn't work long term, maybe for a minute, maybe for a week. If I really want to have a lasting influence on my home, it's going to come by doing that inner work and inviting myself to whatever my best advice is to my husband. Chaim, thank you for joining this weekly Parsha series. I'm looking forward to a year of discovering the Torah together through the lens of Shalom Bayis.